Good evening, everybody. This is Laird, VE3LKS, and in a moment we'll get started with the COVID-19 Rag Chew, Week 4, Wednesday night edition. And if anyone's listening, I'd just like to give a shout out to Jack, VA3JFW. It's his birthday today, so hopefully Jack will be in here tonight, and JFW, sorry, and we'll be able to wish him a happy birthday. So at this time, without further ado, we'll start taking check-ins for the Rag Chew. Please come now, VE3LKS.
VA3BTQ, happy birthday, Jack.
BA3BAH, happy birthday, Jack.
Birthday, Jack.
Victor Echo 3, Charlie Romeo Uniform, happy birthday, Jack, old buddy. Victor Echo 3, Victor Golf Juliet, happy birthday, Jack. Victor Echo 3, Romeo Mike Kilo, happy birthday, Jack. Victor Alpha 3, Tango Papa Sierra, happy birthday, Jack.
Okay, that last station, I couldn't make out your call sign. Okay, very good. I'll go through the list of check-ins so far. We got VA3, BTQ Jackie. We have VA3, BAH Brian coming in from Kingston. VE3, PWJ Peter. VE3, DKW, I believe it was, Mark and Rylan. VE3, CRU Bill. VE3, VGJ Joe. VE3, RMK Ken. VA3 TPS Steve, and VA3 OFR John. If there's anybody else that wants to jump in at this time, please come now.
VE3HMF. VE3 IRB. VE3FJC, happy birthday, Jack. VE3RPM. Victor Alpha 3, Kilo Papa Whiskey, and happy returns of the day.
Okay, very good. Let's see, who else did I pick up just there? I think I already had down to Steve TPS, VA3 OFR John, VE3 HMF Harry. Good evening, Harry. I'm glad to hear you got your mic going. Then we had VE3 IRB, VE3 FJC Walter, VE3 RPN Scott, and VA3 KPW Paul. Welcome everyone to the Rag Chew this evening, and with that, I think we'll start at the top here. We got 14 check-ins already, and I'm hoping Jack is able to at least hear us there. I know he's in the hospital, and they had to move him from one floor to the other a few days ago, and since then he hasn't been able to get in. But hopefully he's on. YouTube and able to watch us on YouTube. VA3 BTQ Jackie, and how's your day been going so far?
Good evening, everybody. My day has gone very well with my horses and my dog. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who joins the net, because for me, it's really nice to hear other voices. Thank you.
Oh, very good, Jackie. Well, we're always glad to have you join us too. Let's see. VA3 BAH Brian. And how are you coming in tonight? Because I didn't hear the announcement that you were coming in. I knew someone was on the link, but sometimes when you get in, I hear the VA3 BAH node connected come across.
Well, funny you should ask, Laird, because I booted up the software on my computer about 10 minutes ago and got a sound check because I wasn't sure if you had been able to reboot the controller or not on Urban. So tonight I'm using the IAX RPT app in my laptop, and it is the one that gives you that node connected message. When I use my tablet or my cell phone with the EV Switch app, you don't get it for some weird reason. Anyways, thanks for rebooting the controller, and before I time out, I'll give it back to you, that control.
Okay, very good, Brian. Sounds good, and I'm glad you explained that to me because I wasn't sure why it was coming in on some of your transmissions and not on others. So that clears it up quite substantially. VE3 PWJ Peter.
Well, good evening, Larry. I'd like to say happy birthday to Jack. I don't know a fella, but happy birthday anyway. And your picture quality is back to good old normal. You got a nice picture again tonight, Larry. I'd like to say good evening to that real pretty nurse there, too. I don't want to let him feel that he's snuffed out or anything like that. Over to you, Larry, and you're going to have a good nap by the looks of it.
Yes, a real pretty nurse or retired portly nurse. Wonder. I guess they both fit. Very good. And yes, Peter, thanks for joining us again this evening. And I did have to make some changes. Apparently, the software I was using has a timeout on the trial edition where it just dumps the quality right down to almost nothing. Of course, they don't tell you that on the website. They just tell you that it gives you the watermark, and so I just assumed that. But so I switched to another one, and we'll see how long it goes. But at least this is working for this evening, and I'm glad the quality's back up there. VE3 DKW, Mark and Ryland. Good evening. Okay, Ryland, I didn't catch I didn't hardly catch anything. The only thing I heard you say was that you were working on, and then it was static the rest of the time. So I hope you're working on an antenna, but if you want to maybe try to get to a bit better position, I'll come back to you in a minute or so, and we'll try again. VE3 CRU, Bill. Good evening.
VE3 CRU here. Good evening, Larry. Got a lot of things written down here, and I guess we might as well take them in order. I've noted of the 5 people that you worked on 146520, 3 were in Bowmanville and 2 were in Oshawa, and the 3 in Bowmanville were all pretty close to each other. And there's one thing they did not realize or forgot. Not only were they to work the president, but they were to work each other to drive up their score. So we missed out that this time, but on April 22nd, for the 432 sprint, I hope we can encourage a few to be able to, as I say, get as many as they can. And maybe by then we can have a few better antennas up, a few loaners that might become available. So other than that, speaking of antennas, I see Doug VA3DCE is the closest ham to at grid Fox November 04, which we need to FN03. So if he gets a slightly better antenna, maybe for 432, he can give everybody double the points because because that gives you 2 multipliers instead of 1 if you work 2 grids. So, as I say, there's a lot more going on. I've got ruffled a few feathers today. I'll mention that next time around. Back to that, VA3CRU.
Okay, very good, Bill. And yeah, Doug will have a bit of a hard time. He's up in Uxbridge, and his location isn't the most ideal, but we'll see what we can do. Let's try Mark and Ryland again. VE3DKW. Okay, I can make out that it's Ryland talking, but I can't make out anything else. It's still quite noisy. So give it another shot, and we'll get back to you in a little bit again. VE3 VGJ Joe. Good evening.
Good evening, Laird, and everybody on frequency. Yes, and happy birthday to Jack again. That's great, 80 years old. Wow, that's something else. And another little thing here, some people may not realize this, but tomorrow is Vimy Ridge Day. Something about the Vimy Ridge there, not something about it, but it's that about the battle of the First World War, where about 30,000 Canadians were involved with. And anyway, so tomorrow is Vimy Ridge Day. Just thought I'd pass that on. Back to you.
Yeah, that's one of those dates that everyone knows about Vimy Ridge, but we never remember the date. So I appreciate bringing that to our attention, Joe. Yeah, a very famous battle in Canadian history, and yeah, a lot of guys paid the price that day. Let's see, VE3 RMK Ken.
Good evening, Laird, and everybody on net. It's great to hear everybody out there again. I'll say another happy birthday to Jack. Thanks to Joe VGJ for mentioning Vimy Ridge Day tomorrow. I've got a great uncle whose name is on the memorial. He was one of the fallen, and not a day goes by we don't think about that and be extremely thankful that we're in Canada. Over.
Yes, that's for sure. You know, a lot of Canadians gave their life during both World Wars, but we are fortunate that our ancestors decided to migrate to this side of the pond. That's for sure. VA3 TPS Steve.
Okay, good evening, Laird, to everybody on frequency. Another great bunch of people on. Great to hear everybody. My day up here, several days inside the shop and at the shack, just buttering around and stores, eating up, trying to keep busy. Looking forward to the Ontario Food Show party. Other than that, there's not too much else to report. Here's back to you.
Pretty soon, if you keep up all that cleaning, you'll be able to eat off the floor of that shack in there, Steve. It'll just be polished to a, you know, to a perfect gloss. But yeah, this outbreak is sure giving a lot of people a lot of time to do stuff around the house. I know this evening I went for a little walk just in our subdivision here, and I talked to people I've never talked to before in my life, you know, because they live several blocks away. But I think people were out sitting on their front porch, and they were just happy to see another human being. And even though we talked from 15 or 20 feet apart, they were just happy to talk to someone else beside who they've been stuck in the house with. And it was quite enjoyable. I think I talked to about 3 or 4 different people. Only one of them I knew, and but it was nice. A beautiful evening too. Anyways, glad you're getting a lot done up there, Steve, and it'll help you once the weather's really nice not to have to do all that stuff. You can just sit back and enjoy the water and kick back for the summer. VA3 OFR, John, good evening, sir.
VA3JFW, good evening, everybody. Happy birthday, Jack, and I'm here with Alex. He wants to say a couple of words.
Sure, put Alex on the microphone. Okay, very good, Alex. Your contemporary Rylan is also on frequency, but we're having a bit of a hard time. He's having a bit hard time getting into the repeater tonight. I can tell it's his voice, but just a lot of static. But hopefully, when this all clears up, if we don't get the June barbecue in because of this, hopefully we'll get the September one in, and you guys can meet up and have a great time together. Uh, but glad to have you with us this evening, Alex, and your dad too. Your dad's a pretty cool guy. Let's see, Harry, VE3HMF, you got your microphone going. Excellent, Harry.
Good evening, Laird, and good evening to everyone else, and happy birthday to Jack. Yes, I finally got it, the mic fixed, Laird. Not a lot of traffic tonight. Just about to head out to Canadian Tire for a roadside pickup before it's too late. The usual, did a little bit around the house, a little bit of painting. Tried to chase some DX today, but didn't make it at all on CW. Conditions aren't that great. Anyway, I'll pass it back to you, Laird. Go ahead.
Oh, very good, Harry. Just a quick question. How late is Canadian Tire staying open for curbside pickup?
9 o'clock on the website, 9 o'clock.
Okay, good to know, because I need to order some stuff too, and I wasn't sure what time they were going to be closing up. Excellent. I appreciate that, Harry. And good luck with that and whatever project you're working on there and with whatever you're picking up. And we'll go down to Robert, VE3IRB.
I'd like to say hello to everybody. Happy birthday, Jack. Nothing really to add at this point. VE3IRB, back to you.
Okay, very good, Robert. Well, thanks for checking in with us this evening. It's always great to have you. Walter, VE3FJC.
Good evening, everybody on board. Nothing to report. I will say happy birthday to Jack up in Cajun. I should say up in Lindsay.
Yes.
Nothing to report here, so I'm in and out there.
Okay, very good, Walter. It's always great to have you on, though, so feel free to join us any night. We'll look for you the second round, too, just in case you're still hanging around. And if anyone's on the YouTube channel, just pop your name on there, and we'll acknowledge you on the net as well. And for those that aren't aware, I'll just give a little brief announcement here. We do this COVID-19 rag chew every weekday night, so that's Monday through Friday at 7 o'clock. And we're also streaming it on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and look up my call sign, Victor Echo 3 Lima Kilowatt Sierra, VE3 LKS, and you should see my ugly unshaven face in here. I'm surprised Joe didn't make a comment about that. He was willing to trade me some toilet paper for some razor blades the other night. Let's see, who's next? VE3 RPN. Scotty, how's it going?
RPN, thank you, Larry. Well, it's going mighty fine. I got a great group of people checking in, and great to hear the gals and the guys on here, and the young guys. That's even better. Nothing like getting some new blood in the hobby, and a great hobby it is. And what else can I say? Ain't too much tonight. I'm sitting here at the Metro tonight, and I know Bob's going shopping right now, but there sure is a big lineup at the Metro. They're all the way around the corner, almost to my car where I got my radio set up. Maybe if they get inquisitive, I'll yell at them. And damn radio, come back in a couple of months. You'll get some information on it when we're all clear. Anyway, buddy, keep up the good work. We'll be listening. I might be on the handheld there. VE3 RPN, over to you.
Oh, and Scotty, I just want to make a comment. I don't think that app on Facebook did you any justice. There's no way you look like Tim Allen. I would have guessed Jonathan Winters more from the Mork and Mindy show.
I kind of was waiting for that one there. I agree with you. I couldn't resist when my friend sent me that. I thought, yeah, when it came up that, the only thing I guess close to it is we're both ham operators.
Okay, very good, Scott, and thanks for checking in. Did you say you're going grocery shopping, or you're just out in the parking lot?
I just am enjoying the altitude here with my radio, but definitely not going in. I got mine down at 1 o'clock today.
Okay, very good. And with that, we're down to Paul, VA3KPW. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. So now I know why I had a question mark rather than okay on my screen. You're talking about the link being down, and when I get on, I don't hear anything. It's kind of strange. I'm going to try and put it on my phone and on my tablet as well, so I'll have 3 virtual radios without a radio or an antenna in sight.
Yeah, isn't technology amazing? Although if you do have it on your phone, technically that is a radio. It's just not in the amateur bands. Hi. Very good, Paul. Yes. Well, the more ways you can get in, the better. I know last night we had um, Mike come in, and he was mobile. His call is VA6HEM, so he's from Alberta, but he was in the middle of Manitoba last night, heading back to Ontario. So. He was using his phone as well, and it's great because when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can still make connections to places all around the world. And with that, I'm going to take a standby, guys, because it's time to see if anybody else out there wants to join in on the Rag Chew. If there is, please come now. This is Laird, VE3LKS.
VA3HIX, Romeo Tango Victor. VA3JFW. VE3CWR. VE3LIZ. VE3IPX.
Okay, so I'll acknowledge VE3HIX Bob, VA3RTV Jeffrey, VA3KJI Grant, VE3CWR Gerard, VE3LIZ Glenn, and VE3IGX Cam. If there's anybody else out there that I missed, please come now.
AZP.
Okay, so I have VE3KZT John as well. Beautiful. We're up to 21 check-ins tonight, fellas, and things are just hopping. So what I'm going to do is, let me see, where do we leave off? I think Paul was the last one. So we'll go to Bob, VE3HIX. We'll go through this, the guys who just checked in, and then we'll go back to the top of the list. And while I have a captive audience, if there's anyone on YouTube that just wants to put their name in, let me know that someone's out there and that it's working. That'd be great. I've got one of these little Bauji radios, the BJ218, but I need a programming cable for it. It's a USB cable that plugs into the RJ45 jack on the front. And the cables that I have, none of them work. I get an error message, and I looked it up, and it has something to do with the pinout configuration. And so if anybody has a cable that I could borrow for a day or two, I'd really appreciate that. That'd be great. As well, I was thinking if anyone ever has anything for sale, since not much is happening as far as Hamfest and that, feel free to make an announcement on here too. Like, we don't want a whole long list, but if you got 1 or 2 items a night, that'd be okay. And with that, we will go to Bob, VE3HIX.
Good evening, Laird. Good evening, everyone. No, nothing for sale here at the moment. No great excitement today. Out for groceries tonight, just before things started up, and we found that there was a huge lineup grocery store, or 8 o'clock in the morning at another grocery store to see if I can get in there early. I don't know if you had VA3JFW from Kingston check in yet, but he was able to get through after we reset the controller 2 nights ago. Earlier this evening, I talked to him from the car. So looking forward to hearing how he comes through on this radio. And it should be just great. Well, let's go back to you then, Laird, the E3HIX.
Yes, unfortunately, fortunately, Brian was able to get in, and he is on here. Matter of fact, I think it was like the second check-in. Yes, right after Jackie. So you'll hear him. You'll hear his beautiful melodious voice in just a few minutes. VA3RTV, Jeffrey.
Yes, good evening, Laird, and everybody on frequency, and very happy birthday to you, Jack, if you're listening to us. And I would like to acknowledge a few people that might be listening in or watching you on YouTube, which would be Chris, Brad, John, my daughter Rebecca, and Lois has just signed in. And Lois has a question. She is wondering if you are logging people on a computer with a keyboard or just writing it down. She's very curious as to how you do that, Laird. And very good evening to everybody. Back to you.
Okay, very good, Jeffrey. Well, being a data guy, I've sort of gone crazy with this thing. For the first probably week and a half, I just did everything on paper, just wrote down names and call signs as they came in, and would do a manual total and everything else. Now I have a spreadsheet. I'm using Excel, and I have a worksheet for each night. It's all part of just one master spreadsheet, but in the spreadsheet there's multiple worksheets, and I have a worksheet for each night, and then I have a master worksheet. On each individual worksheet, when I put your call in, it'll automatically pop up your name because I populated that into a database if you've been on before. And then it increases the count up in the top corner for me, and it'll say one person's on. Then the next person checks in and keeps on going. If I do hit a name that hasn't checked in yet, a call sign, then it will say not found, and I'll ask for that person's name, and then after that, I'll go put their name in the master list. Then it gets even more fun. Over in the master list, it pulls the data from every single night, and it will tally the number of nights we've done it, and it lists how many times each operator has checked in, and it shows what nights they checked in, and it shows how many unique operators, and that means, for instance, you may have checked in 5 times, but you only count as 1 for the unique operators. And then it will tell me how many people have signed in every single night. So as I say, being a data guy, I sort of got bored one day and just went crazy. So I hope that answers Lois's question.
Lois just said, pardon, she didn't get that. No, I'm just kidding. Back to you.
Tell her I'm going to come over to your house, open the door, and cough.
Okay, she's very happy that, yeah, and she just got a comment on the YouTube for you. Thanks very much.
Okay, very good. VA3KJI, Grant, good evening.
Good evening, Laird, and everybody on net. And Jack, I hope you have a happy birthday. Not much to add. We did a little bit of groceries today, and just like Bob said, it was pretty busy. Managed a bit of a liquor store run. My wife won't let me go in because she figures I'll touch everything, so I have to sit in the car, and she runs in, which is kind of good, I guess. But then you can't complain about what you buy either. So anyway, not much more to add. Laird, now back to you, sir.
Oh, it's a good thing to keep the essentials open for you, Grant. Very good. Well, I'm glad you were able to get the essentials out of the way, and maybe if you need things like groceries or eggs or something, you can get them some other night. Hi. VE3CWR Gerard, and Just curious how the meeting went last night.
Yeah, good evening, Laird, and everybody on frequency, and happy birthday, Jack. And everything was super dandy. They had 16 people on there last night, and it went pretty good. Excellent, actually. And Joe, we shipped the 5-element beam from Toronto today, so I don't know when it will get a little calmed down. But I haven't received it yet, but it costs the shipping from by Purolator cost half the price of the antenna. $55 to ship it. Anyway, hope everybody's well. VA3JFW.
Ouch, man. That shipping really hurts. It's you wouldn't think something like that. I mean, it may be slightly bigger than a normal package, but it's not going to be heavier. Oh well, I'm glad to hear you're going to be getting that beam there, Gerard, and can't wait to get it up and we can hear you a bit better maybe, or you'll play with it a bit more, and we'll be able to compare between this one and the other one. VE3LIZ, good evening, Glenn. And did you hear about the visitor that's coming down here?
Good evening, Laird. Good evening to all. Nice to hear that going on. And yeah, he's south of Matheson. He went into Timmins today and got gas. He's south of Matheson now. He come around the number 11 instead of the 17. Been kind of following him. I talked to him on the phone. I talked to him on DMR. So been kind of following him. He left Dryden this morning and he's south of Timmins. Very surprised. He just continued drive. He must have cruise on because every time I click on his APRS site, it says 113, so he must have cruise on. And we'll say good evening to Jack and wish him a happy birthday there. Get well there, Jack. It's not long, a month and a half to June the 6th canoe race, so we need some help. Look after yourself, Jack. Nice to hear the 80th. It won't be long for me either, so carry on. And just listening to ISS going over the International Space Station. They finally got packet radio on there again, APRS on there. So very interesting. Nice to see some of that activity going on. Other than that, not much going on. Got to get out and get groceries. Haven't been out of the house for a couple of weeks. We realize it.
Oh, very good. I'm surprised that the International Space Station hasn't tried to check into our net one evening. Very disappointing in those guys. Hi. Very good. But it is line of sight. Technically, they can do it. But it's interesting that they've got the APRS going again. That's cool. Hate to see how fast that sucker's going. Let's see. VE3IGX Cam.
Good evening, Laird, and happy birthday to Jack. Lovely picture there tonight. I can even see your beard coming along pretty good now. Didn't do too much today. Went out for a walk, and I think last night or the other night you mentioned about backing up your computers and that. So I had nothing else to do this afternoon, so that's what I accomplished. It's going to be a while before it gets to really looking like a real beard.
Oh!
Anyway, we'll give it back to you. VE3LKS, VE3IGX.
Oh, it's a tough, cruel crowd that I hang with, isn't it? Oh, very good. No, I know it's more gray than anything else, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I don't know why it's gray. I'm not that old. Anyways, VE3KZT, John, good evening.
Good evening to all on that. Happy birthday to the birthday boy. Nothing new here. Sitting around self-contained, and what else can I say?
VA3KZD, nothing for the net, although I wouldn't mind talking to you about the Zoom if you get a chance sometime, or sometime we can get together. VA3KZD.
Sure, no problem, John. I'd be more than happy to help you with that and discuss it. And yeah, maybe even after the net here, if we can discuss it for a few minutes if you like. And before I go to the top, let's just take one more short stop here to see if there's anyone else that wants to check into the reg chew this evening.
VA3NMD.
Okay, Darren, VE3NMD, you're the only one that came in, so take it away. And then we'll go back up to the top, I promise.
Okay, not much to say here. Just checking in, saying hello to everyone, and back to you.
Wow, a man of many words. Very good. Well, glad to have you on with us this evening, Darren. Glad you made it back from lunch, and glad you were able to go down there and help your parents out. VA3 BTQ Jackie, and did you get out riding today, or did you just log another 10 kilometers with Scamp?
VA3BTQ. I did both. Rode, had a beautiful ride on my elderly mare, and then came back and said to Scamp, "Come on, we're going." At that time it was 4 o'clock. We walked for 2.5 hours, and Scamp has been asleep for the last 2 hours. Over.
He's going to start to run and hide when he hears you get up and moving around, so you can't find him. Oh, that's good though. Yeah, I'm glad you're able to get out there and enjoy the beautiful day. I was stuck down here in my dungeon working all day, and but I did get out for a little bit of a walk in the evening, so that's I'm glad for that. But definitely not 2.5 hours worth, that's for sure. I probably need it more than you do though. Hi. Yeah, let's see. We'll go down to Brian, VA3 BAH, the man that's being requested.
Requested. Well, hi Bob, and thanks for the sound check earlier. So I'm not sure how this sounds on your mobile. Hopefully it's a good 5x9 copy. And Larry, I don't know what to say, man. You know, you look like you don't ever open that window above your shoulder there. The sun never shines down in that area. So, and back to you, Desk Control. Thanks for taking my check-in.
Yeah, actually, that window up there, it faces the west, and I do open it. But at nighttime, when I'm going to do the net, I close it so I don't get so the light's diffused. Otherwise, it can wash out a bit. So when you're in a high-tech studio such as this, when you're producing video, you have to be careful of things like that, Brian.
Roger that. I used to do camera work for Trillium Cable, so there dates myself. And absolutely, you really have to watch that glare. Back to you.
Yeah, it's a good thing I'm not follically challenged yet, because that would add another dimension if I was having some light coming off the top of the head. Hi. VE3 PWJ, Peter.
Yeah, it's been a fun net. We were running around a little bit. We had to go up and get some dog food for our Labrador, and we came down Talon Mines and came across Adelaide, and I came by a certain street, and I saw a Mazda sitting crossways at the bottom of the driveway. So I think you know who I'm talking about there. And we scooted over to the bank over there by Costco. So we did a bit of running around today. It was nice out there too, by the way. So over to you there, Larry.
Yes, you weren't by chance riding your bike on Bond Street this afternoon, were you?
Wasn't me.
Okay, very good. Because from the back, it almost looked like it could have been you, but I couldn't. It was so busy, I didn't want to take my eyes off the road and off the bike and off the cars around me when I passed them. Yeah, if I had been able to confirm it was you, I don't know what I would have done. Hi. VE3DKW, Mark and Rylan. Let's hope you got a bit better signal this time.
Yeah, I think I switched over to the radios in the shop. I didn't think I would get better signal on that low UZ5R, but tomorrow we're actually going up in Whippy or somewhere to pick up a gas tank for our welder that we just got from my dad's work. And we're gonna try it out, see what happens, and I'll see if I can talk to you guys on Thursday tomorrow.
Okay, very good. What kind of a project are you working on that you need to do some welding?
The hitch on the back of the tractor, so I can do tractor pulls.
Oh, okay.
It has to have a wheelie bar and the hitch. We need to weld the hitch on just so it doesn't break right off. Back to you, Larry.
That's amazing, Rylan. Well, you know it's a serious lawn tractor when you have a wheelie bar on the back. I need to get myself one of those. Hi. Oh man, that's awesome. I can't wait to see pictures of this thing. You're gonna have to make sure you take some and send them our way. Bill, VE3CRU, I know you have nothing to say, so we'll go on to the next guy. How about that?
Hi. Good try, Lord. VE3CRU here. Yeah, give me 5 or 10 minutes. Hi. Okay, start off with a bright note. So I've celebrated Man of the Hour there, Jack Wild, VA3JFW. Anyone who has seen in the TCA magazine front cover and even on the inside with the big 42-inch dish up there, that dish came from Jack Wild. There's a story behind it. I won't get into it tonight, but at another time we will honor Jack more with more information because hundreds of thousands of hams around the world have seen that dish, and I say it's all because of VE3JFW. Thank you, Jack, very much, and again, happy birthday. Okay, on a rather distressing note, this morning I heard news about favorite ham Rover location called Hagersville. There's a care home down there, Harbor something or other, that had 8 patients die there from COVID, and 43 of the residents have test positive for the disease. 22 staff members test positive. So I put out an alert on the ham radio about it, and I got attacked rather miserably by starting off with one person who didn't like me mentioning anything about that on ham in the ham radio stuff there because it's not ham radio, and he's distressed about it enough now, and yada. And then somebody else came in who is one of the offenders who would be going down there to play radio for personal glory. And if you look at the TCA magazine, this last one that came out, you'll see 2 rovers who disobeyed police orders in that ice storm in January and went way down east on Highway 401 in absolutely disgusting conditions, again, seeking personal glory. It's like, I don't get with some of these people. But anyway, getting off that subject and getting into something that maybe a bit curious for you. Next Tuesday is the 222 sprint. Now, I just happen to have a rig here. I don't know if you could figure out how to operate it or not, but it is a Linko 235, an Linko 235 for a 222 FM. I don't know if you'd be able to figure it out or not, Laird. And so is the day. We'll get on to that another night there, but back to that.
Node 27838. Timeout.
Okay, so that was just the all-star timing out there. We'll hear Brian come back in a minute. Very good, Bill. Yeah, I'd have to look it up and see if I can find a manual online for you. But as far as programming it, as long as if that's what you're referring to, we should be able to get it programmed for you, and you could use that in the 220 if you wanted to. Let's see, Joe, VE3VGJ.
Yes, Laird, a couple things here. Back on the Vivian Ridge Day, just some numbers there. 30,000 Canadians spotted it. There's 11,000 casualties, and 3,600 were killed. Anyway, that's the numbers there for Vivian Ridge Canadians. And you mentioned about the toilet paper rolls and razors. Well, it's doubled now because by what you got in your face, I don't think one razor is going to be enough. So it's 4 toilet paper rolls and 2 razors. And Gerard, just let you know I heard about the antenna. If you need help putting it up, let me know. And also you mentioned, I see, and I also see Alex, he beat me to the punch there. I was going to acknowledge you as Scruff there, but he called you Scraff. So anyway, back to you there. And I guess this will be the last time around. So the VE3VGJ and Bowman will be clear and listening to the end of your rag chew, which you're doing a great job of.
Okay, very good, Joe. Jealousy will get you nowhere. You know, I think this is going to be a chick magnet thing myself. Well, maybe not, but one could only hope. Yes, if you need any help with putting the antenna up at Gerard's place, give Doug a call. My feet were meant to be placed firmly on the ground. Let's see, VE3RMK, Ken. Oh, we must catch Ken. This must be his supper time because he gets in the first round, but then by the time the second round comes around, he's sometimes not with us. VA3 TPS, Steve. Is this wing night up there in Fenland Falls?
Yeah, later was actually the one place that used to do a Thursday. It was the better place. They do now Wednesday and Thursday. So it was our every other week wing night. That was nice. No cooking, no cleanup, and very enjoyable. Well, yeah, the other thing, Larry, Grecian formula. That certainly works very well. And just in case we don't know around, I'll say 7-3, another great job, and I'll be listening. And everyone have a great day. Be safe.
Okay, very good, Steve. You can use Grecian formula on your face? I didn't realize that. I know I don't need it on my head too much, only a bit on the temples, but I didn't know you could use it on the beard too. I'll have to check that out. Let's see. BA3 OFR, John and Alex.
If I'll pass it to Alex, he chewed already a couple of rugs.
Hello, Larry. Good evening to all. I'm actually pretty honored to be here, and I can't wait to get my license and be a future ham.
Awesome, good stuff, Alex, and we can't wait to meet up with you someday. As soon as all this is over with, and we can get together and socialize again, and show you the repeater. And it's too bad. I don't think Field Day is going to happen this year because that would have been a great time to get you, guys like you and Ryland and that out. You can get on the radios and chat all around the world. But yeah, good luck with getting your ham ticket. And there's several good places to get courses. Hold on. And so there's lots of good opportunity. The question bank is online, so you can study and then test yourself on the question bank. And the question bank is actually comprised of all the questions that they draw from for the actual exams. So any question that you get on the question bank, there's a possibility it'll be on the exam. And with that, we will head down to Harry, VE3HMF. Okay, I think Harry said he was going to head out shopping, so I think that's probably where he's gone. VE3 IRB, Robert.
Well, I just wanted to say hello to you. I got a phone call from
Glenn while I was on here. He was on an international conference on Zoom today. He told me after he left that apparently somebody Zoom bombed the conference for thinking about doing the meeting. Make sure we are careful about our security. I guess it's a new thing to do is you get the passwords, get into and join the meeting and display some inappropriate things. Anyways, back to you, B3IRB.
Yeah, there's ways around that though. Whoever set up the meeting probably didn't do too much research. But I'm not sounding too critical here, because there is a way of setting up a meeting where everyone has to meet in what they call the waiting room, and then once you're in the waiting room, the facilitator actually just goes through and checks the people that they want to have in the meeting, so only those people can get in. I was on a conference call yesterday, actually with Zoom, because we wanted to find out the ramifications of using it in healthcare, and that's what this conference call was all about. But they were a bit sketchy on the Canadian regulations for healthcare, because in Canada, you cannot store your data on servers that are located outside the country. So if you wanted to back up data on, like, say, the Amazon cloud, you can't, because Amazon cannot guarantee you that your data is going to be stored on a Canadian server, or that the route to get there doesn't go through the States. And then the second part of that is all traffic, meaning from the time it leaves your keyboard to the time it gets for Zoom, by the time till it gets to the other people watching, that has to all remain in Canada as well. No, if you're talking about healthcare, no bit of information can leave the country, and if it does, then it's not compliant. And it's funny, I asked several times. It was one of these ones where you could just type questions in. They didn't have people asking questions as such with their voice. And I asked several questions like that, and they sort of bypassed those. So I have a feeling they're not really HIPAA or FIPA compliant here in Canada. But yeah, there is ways of locking it down. I'm just going to drop it here. I would hate to time it out. I would never hear the end of it. But yes, for our meeting, I'll definitely be setting up the waiting room option, and I'll only let people in that I know are supposed to be coming into the meeting. Let's see, Walter, VE3FJC. No, I know Walter said he was probably heading out too, so that's okay. Scotty, VE3RPN, and I'm going to think up of more words that we can use for RPN. I came up with one tonight, but I won't repeat that one.
Very good, Laird. 3 RPM on the portable. Hopefully I'm getting through to the repeater. Not once for yes, twice for no. Just kidding. You do look good on that YouTube there. Anyway, yeah, I was thinking of what was it? Prestigious, how about practical? Really practical, nuts. That might work. That's an easy one to remember. And that friend of mine, Peter there, I think he's in the same boat I am. I know what we'd be doing now. We'd be getting ready to, what is it? What is it Bob says there, Peter? Just another pass and Fanny? We'd be getting ready to do a little competition there up in, up near that buffet that we like to go to. Anyway, thanks a lot there, Laird. I'll tell you about it when I see it, if that's going to happen in the near future. Over to you, net control there, VE3RPM.
Okay, very good, Scott. Always good to have you on here. I have someone I can insult and get a few back. Oh, very good. Yeah, can you imagine some of these places like the Mandarin? If when things go back to normal, the first week the lineup's going to go right around the tarmac of the airport, because people are going to be in there and they're going to just lay a herd on that place. People are just going to be in there for hours on end, going after round of food. Anyways, Paul, VA3KPW.
Yeah, thanks, Laird. Talking about Zoom, I'd never heard of it until about a week ago. Carol, my partner, is a volunteer at the Art Gallery of Ontario, and like me, she's over 70. They said, well, we're going to get together on Zoom. And Carl said, we're all going to get together on Zoom. And I said, Zoom? What is Zoom? Because the only thing I know about Zoom is Zoom with respect to
The Mazda.
Mazda. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang in here after and maybe ask a couple of questions or at least listen in to what you have to say about Zoom. Over.
Sure, no problem, Paul. And speaking about Zoom, have you had your Mazda out this year?
Yes, I have. I had it out a couple of times, and I was a little concerned because the boost on my blower should have been 5 and it's only 3 pounds. And the other problem I had with the vacuum at idle is that at about 11 pounds rather than about 19 or 20. So I got work to do. But what I did today is I took the foam filter. In fact, I took the filter out yesterday and cleaned it and let it dry overnight. Put oil in it this morning and reinstalled it on the car. So I'm ready to go, but I'm a little concerned about the vacuum.
Okay, very good. I know Tall Larry's not on here tonight. I don't wonder where Larry is, but I know last I heard he still had the cover on his, and he was just dreaming of nice weather. But hopefully he'll. These last few days have been nice. Hopefully he'll have taken the cover off, given it a clean. I don't know why, because he keeps that thing spotless, and maybe he'll be out. Maybe that's where he is tonight. Maybe he's out driving around. Let's hope so. VE3HIX, Bob.
Well, I wish I was out driving around on my bike. When I was out trying to get groceries, apparently the GP bike phoned here. This is mostly for Jeffrey, and left. They didn't leave any message at all. So either it's done and I can pick it up. This is just a tube and tire, I don't know, wheel with a new valve stem, or they want my Visa number over the phone first or something of that nature, so I don't have to go inside and touch anything. I don't know how that works, but I'll give them a call first thing tomorrow morning after I get the groceries and see what happens after that. Back to you, Larry, VE3HIX.
Oh, very good, Bob. Well, I hope that's. I hope you've got good news there, and that it's ready to go, and you can get that home, put it on the bike, and get it out on the road. Because I mean, beautiful weather. It was funny when I was talking to some of these people on my walk tonight, most of who I didn't even know. We were all commenting that everyone's got their yard work done, and it's not even the middle of April yet. So we're going to have the best looking lawns and gardens this year, because people just go out and fiddle around in their gardens and on their lawns, and they're getting them all ready. So I can imagine that once you get your front wheel put back on your, I think it was your front wheel, back on your bike, you're going to be spending a lot of time on the open road and enjoying the less traffic. Excellent, Bob. Well, I hope it all works out well for you, and that they've got good news. VA3 RTV, Jeffrey.
Yeah, thank you very much, Laird, and I hope you do get your wheel done, because you're my partner when we go riding. So, yeah, I've been out probably about 10 times this year so far. I was out yesterday. Any case, looking forward to a ride there, Bob. Couple of quick things. I was talking to Bill earlier this evening, and we were talking about low power, and I mentioned about the Alinco. It's the BDay C5. It's the credit card radio, 500 milliwatts. It's got a little 5-inch, I think, antenna on it. I'm looking at it now, actually, and I was explaining to Bill there that I was in headquarters 1, which is the McDonald's at King and Town Line, and we were on the south side, sitting there, and this little credit card radio would actually trigger our repeater, so I was very impressed. And of course it's dual band as well, so good little radio. So that's what it was. So I couldn't quite remember what the model was. And the only only other quick thing I've got is Robert went IRB. I wonder if you could tell me, did you actually get through on 3.885 on that, talking about old tube sets and wartime radios and things? So I was kind of interested in that. And with that, back to you guys. Thanks very much.
Okay, very good. Robert, did you want to answer that real quick?
Sure, VA3IRB. No, I haven't managed to connect with them yet. A couple of times I could hear a very faint voice in the distance, but not enough to receive it well enough to pick it up. So usually I've been on here, and I think maybe I'm getting in there too late. I was actually going to try to do it over supper time today and try a wee bit earlier, but then I got on the telephone, so I couldn't do it. But we'll keep trying though. VE3IRB, back to you.
Okay, very good. And with that, we will go down to Grant, VA3KJI. And have you opened any of the products that you purchased today?
Actually, Laird, I haven't. My daughter, who's moved home through this mess, has tried one of hers, but I haven't. And all this talk about motorcycles, oh man, it's bringing back some good memories for sure. Not that I have one anymore. We had an issue about 5 years ago, but I won't get into that. And boating was my next thing, and that's going to be a problem this year because we have a trailer. So trailer parks are all closed till further notice, as are the marinas. So I'm sure my boat's still fitting in shrink wrap, but we'll get through this crap. And if it's not this year, it'll be this time next year. Back to you, Laird.
Well, Grant, on the bright side, there's always ice fishing season. Very good. Well, I hope it doesn't get to that bad. I hope you're able to get up to your trailer, get the shrink wrap off the boat, and get out and enjoy the lakes. If it goes all summer, I don't know. I think there's something wrong if that happens. Anyways, VE3CWR Gerard. Good evening.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, Keith and Larry and gang there. And Joe, don't be sending him over razor blades. Looking at him on YouTube here, I think a rough towel will be ample, Joe. And 3885 is right now. Usually these are AM guys. They're all on AM, and they all run. Most of them run high power, and they use old equipment and some new stuff. Some of the guys are using these new fed amplifiers running a couple of kilowatts. Anyway, back to you, Larry.
Okay, very good, Gerard. Yes, I'm. Maybe one night we can dedicate the evening to my facial grooming and techniques on how to make it better. Let's see, Glenn, VE3LIZ.
Good evening again, Laird, and good evening to all. And I was reading on somewhere on the internet. That's the only thing I get anymore. That this could be a year or two, partial lockdown for a year or two. So don't get your hopes up too soon. That's for sure. Don't like the sound of it, and scary. And when you look back at the World War I and all the other ones, well, this really is not much different. It's a different form of whatever. So I don't know. I hate to see it. As I said, I've been out for a couple of weeks. I can't get out of this house. So with that, we'll say 7-3 and let you carry on. I see AGM is still pushing it down. He's down close to Englehart now. So 2 days from Calgary to Sudbury? No, North Bay. That's going to be good. Realize it. 7-3 all.
Very good. 73, Glenn, and glad to have you on here tonight. And no one's made any comments on YouTube tonight. I don't know, maybe the comment section isn't working, the live chat. I don't know. But it's weird because usually people have, and I'm not seeing anything. Down to Cam, VE3IGX.
Yeah, I was just reading the comments from LH. He's got quite a few of them on there, and he just said good night. Catch us tomorrow night. And with that, I'd like to say 73 to everybody on the frequency, and I'll be on listening till the end. B3LKS, B3IGX.
Well, that's really weird because I'm not seeing any comments on mine. All I see is the welcome to the live chat, and then I just sent a 73, but that's it. I'm not seeing anything else. Maybe my screen's not wide enough or something tonight. Hold on a second. No, I don't know what it is. I'm not seeing any comments. That's weird. Oh well. As long as the comments are out there, we'll acknowledge Alex, VA3AMP. I didn't mean to ignore you by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just not seeing anything there. Let's see. VE3KZT John.
Okay, well, we're still here hanging in. Scenery pros, and I'll just wait till after the net. We can, if you have time, to talk about Zoom a little bit. 73, it's all on net, and I'll catch you after the net. 73.
Okay, very good, John. Yeah, I'll hang around here for a few minutes after the net, and we can chat, because I think there was someone else that wanted to talk about that too. VE3 NMD, last but not least. Oh, I guess we've lost Darren. He must be busy with something there. So with that, I will take one more round to see if anybody else would like to check in with the COVID-19 rag chew. If so, here's your opportunity.
Recheck CRU.
B3 is flying.
Okay, Bill, before I do the recheck, I'm going to take Jimmy, if that's okay. VE3SOI, you're number 23 tonight.
Hello, Laird. Is this thing working? VA3JFW.
Oh, VA6HEM, I do. I'll put you down in the log, and let me, I just got to go back to Jimmy for a second, and Bill, and then we'll come to you. VE3SOI.
Thanks, Laird. Good job. I did like Bobby. I had to go to a store, and I saw a huge lineup. I had to just will try tomorrow and try to see if I can pass for a senior. Anyway, good to welcome everybody on frequency, and I'll clear after this the 3SI.
I don't know, Jimmy. You're going to have a hard time passing as a senior. But I'll tell you what, come over to my place. I've got some canes from when my dad was still alive. And we'll fit you out with one of those, and we'll see what we can do to make you look old. And very good. Well, good luck with your shopping. And I know I've ordered some stuff from Home Depot. I need to have a new electrical outlet put on the back of the house. And since my son's home and he did take electrical, I'm going to put him to work. Let him electrocute himself instead of me. Aye, aye. Bill, VE3CRU.
VE3CRU here, Lord. Lord, you failed to read between the lines, my friend. I was teasing you about the Elenco. I read in your bio there that I think you're using an Elenco 135 tonight, which of course is 25 watt 2 meter. And as you know, the 235 is the identical box, one band higher. And they say, yes, I'm using it. Yes, I have a manual for it too. So I was teasing you to see
me, and thanks for running that.
Very good. No problem, Bill. Yeah, no, I'm actually running a Kenwood TM71 tonight. My Alinco is actually, oh, you can't see it. It's, oh yeah, right up there. It's in that box right there. And there's a long story behind that one too. I got it from a guy in Myrtle Beach when I was down golfing, of all things. But very good, Bill. Well, thanks for joining us this evening. And we'll head down to Mike, VA3JFW.
Well, good evening, Larry, and everybody in the group, VA6ATM/VA3 Mobile. Just left Timmins there probably about an hour ago, and we are kind of southbound here to Kearney, Ontario. We'll be in Huntsville tonight, but about 11:30 is ETA for that area. So yeah, no, I've been trying to get in for a while. I don't know what's going on with my headset. Every time I pushed a button to key up, it would key up and unkey, but it wouldn't produce audio. So I don't know. It was working last night, no problem, but today it just wasn't working. It was weird. I thought you guys were just ignoring me until I heard Glenn in there. But yeah, very good. Back to you, Larry. VA6ATM/VA3.
Okay, very good, Mike. No, we wouldn't ignore you, at least not unintentionally. Very good. Well, glad to hear you're progressing through the province of Ontario. It's a heck of a big province, isn't it? There's a lot of driving involved when you're coming through Ontario. And with that, I just want to be, I'm just going to close out the net here. I want to thank everyone for joining in this evening. Especially since this is a special evening. It was Jack's 80th birthday. Jack didn't make it on here. I don't know if he was on the live stream watching on YouTube, but if not, I'll send him a message to go back into YouTube and watch it, because I think just about everybody wished him a happy birthday. So if you are watching, Jack, a collective happy birthday right now at the end of the net as well. Congratulations on making to be an octogenarian. That's a major accomplishment, and all the good things that you've done for amateur radio over the years too. A lot of magnificent things. And with that, guys, maybe I'll just take one short last call to see if there's anyone out there can't even talk now. Else out there in the weeds that wants to jump in real quick.
Yeah, okay, Laird. Recheck.
Okay, there was a recheck, and I think someone else.
Yeah, okay, Laird, it's me, V3JFW. I just wanted to tell the guys there that want to listen. They're on 3875 tonight. Signals aren't too bad, but they're not as good as they were the other night.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Gerard. Appreciate that. And was there another station that was coming in there as well? Okay, nothing heard. So, Mike, we're going to have a short conversation about Zoom here, if you don't mind. You're more than welcome to join us on your travels, kill some time, and keep you awake, maybe. Let's see. Who was that was wanting to know? I'll just leave it, and they'll come back, I'm sure. Okay, yeah, John, VE3KZT. You had a few questions about Zoom there.
Yeah, where do we start? So where do I start?
I think if you just go to Google and type in Zoom, you should find it should come up there, and have a link there to their website, and it's basically Zoom teleconferencing or video conferencing, and you go there and you can register for an account. It doesn't cost anything. And then it will want to download software to your computer, which is fine. And then once you get that far, then we can test doing a meeting at some point.
Okay, good. So go online, download, get a subscription and then go from there?
Yes, as they just Google Zoom. Let me see if I can find it. Stand by.
VA3JFW.
Go ahead, KPW.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it, but I had heard of Skype, and Skype can be used for much the same purpose. Could you sort of describe the differences and the advantages of each, or are they completely different in the way they can do things like meetings? We have to consider a meeting for the car club, and I'd be using either Zoom or Skype for that. And Carol needs to know about Zoom for her art gallery stuff.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I found the website here, guys. Now, to be honest with you, I haven't used Skype a lot in the last year, but to give you an idea, Zoom allows you to have multiple people in on one meeting. A matter of fact, with the free version, I think you're allowed to have up to 100 people in a meeting at a time. I think the only drawback is that you may be limited to 40 minutes of time. I think there's a time limit. So what you do is, if you're the meeting organizer, you've got Zoom and you put everyone's email address in and you send them a meeting invitation. So it's good if you have them in your contact list in your email program. For instance, for the Ham Club here, I've got all the members in a file in a group called North Shore Members. And so I can just click that and it'll populate everyone's address and sends it off to them. And then what you do is you have them come into what they call the waiting room. And when the meeting's about to start, you click the ones that you know for sure are supposed to be there. Because someone mentioned earlier that some people are finding out passwords and then going in and disrupting the meeting. You don't want that. So with the what they call the waiting room is the administrator of the meeting can actually choose who comes into the meeting. And it's just an opportunity to have one presenter, many people watching, and you can also share your desktop. I'm just going to drop it here. Yes, so and not only is it just video, so you don't have to look at, say, just me, for instance. If I had something that I wanted to show the group, say in a PowerPoint presentation, I can set it. I can click on. There's an option to share your desktop, and if you have several windows open, you choose which window you want to share. So I would share the one that had the PowerPoint presentation. And then I can do a PowerPoint presentation and everyone can see it on their screen. So it's a lot more flexible that way than Skype is. Skype is more of just a person-to-person conversation, video conferencing, where this gives you quite a few more options.
Okay, well that sounds good.
Okay, I had a few guys in there and no one really went out. So I'll go back to Paul again, and we'll take Paul first, VA3KPW.
Okay, thanks, Larry. One of the things about this thing that I have here that I never had when I had a real radio is that I got full duplex, so I can tell when there's a pileup. I can hear the repeater while I'm actually transmitting, which is really interesting. You never do that with a radio.
No.
At least the radios that I had. But no, that really clears it up. So I can see the Zoom is a lot better for that kind of thing. I've already loaded it onto my computer and onto my phone. I just have to sign up, and I thought I'd wait until I was finished with this first. So that's very good. The idea of the waiting room, I think, is good too. So
Yeah, I know this whole COVID thing hit right when our meeting was coming up as well, and so we got canceled. But we didn't have enough time to plan out a meeting, and Zoom really wasn't really all that well known back a month ago. So, but this coming month, we're definitely going to give it a shot and see how it goes. As I say, I believe there's a 40-minute limit unless they're waiving that with this COVID thing. So worst case scenario, we usually break our meeting up into two sections anyways. We have the first part, which is a presentation, and then we stop and have a coffee break for 20 minutes, and then we have the second half of the meeting. So for us, it would work out fine. I would just have to send out two meeting invitations, one for the first part and one for the second part. So we'll see how that goes. And the other stations in there. Let's try one of the other stations that was in there as well. Go ahead.
The E3LKS, the E3PDK.
Hey Thomas, how's it going this evening?
Wonderful, Laird. Actually just picked up my beautiful wife from work, catching the tail end of the net. Miss you folks, just wanted to back up and say exactly what you said for Zoom is right. There is a 40-minute time limit, but it doesn't seem to get waived as much as sometimes they forget to shut it down. There are a number of scout groups that are meeting over on Zoom, and they've got up to 40 kids going all at a time. It's funny because they're running a net. Each of the kids takes a turn talking. So the 40 minutes doesn't apply all the time. There is a $20 a month paid subscription if you want, and then there's no time limit after that. That's for the host, not for all attendees. As well, there's a password option as well that you can change the password every time, and that is something that, along with the lobby you're talking about, we put in place to make sure scouts are safe and we don't have anybody popping that shouldn't. So back to you.
Yeah, no, I'm no professional in this at all yet. I've only used it a couple times, but I think you have to have a password to get into the waiting room. Am I correct?
My understanding was either just an open invitation or a password. One of the concerns was we did have meetings with no password.
Oh.
I also do know that the corporation is making changes to Zoom almost daily.
Yeah.
So they might be wrapping up or rolling up security changes because there have been Zoom bombs where people are coming into classrooms, passwords are posted, and kids are disrupting studies.
Yeah, leave it for the scum factor to come into effect, right? We're already suffering as it is, and then you have that happening. But yeah, no, I hear you because my wife's been having to deal with that. Now they set it up originally from the beginning where they had to come into the meeting and she's got to accept them from the waiting room. So they haven't had a problem, but yeah, it's just crazy. And I just want to take a quick standby, Thomas, and see if there's anyone else that was trying to get in on the Zoom conversation that we've missed. Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, I heard a comment that Zoom was possibly owned by Google. Any comments that way? And another quick question, or another quick comment. The Toronto Computer Club, I forget the initials, but the Toronto Computer Club have been holding their meetings because of the membership being so far out. They've been holding their meetings with Zoom for near a year.